sure everything is up. Come on now. All right. Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to a wonderful day of softball between the Cape Henry Dolphins and the Blue Bulldogs from Norfolk Academy. I'm Chris Souther, and I'm joined by our CHC TV crew, Victor and RJ today. RJ's working the computer board and the score, and Victor's working our camera. The Dolphins are currently 2-0-1, playing their third home game of the year. The Bulldogs enter today's game with a record of 0-5 and are looking for their first win of the season. Records aside, these are bitter rivals, and we should have a good game today between these two schools. Weather-wise, we have a partly cloudy, although the sun is out right now, slight breezy day. Temps are hovering in the low 50s, so it's going to get a little chilly as this game drags on today. The field's in excellent shape thanks to the hard-working athletic department and field crew from the Cape Henry Collegiate Athletic Department. The umpires are talking to the coaches and the captains over at home plate. Got two umpires today. Captains for the Bulldogs for today's game is number 9, Ryan Robertson, and number 2, Sophie Berger. Let's begin with the visiting Bulldogs starting lineup. Today, they'll be starting number 21, Megan Evans, in center field. Batting second, number 9, Reagan Bandy, pitching. Batting third, number 4, Ying Zhao. She's at third base. Batting fourth, number 11, Sophie Polio. We'll do that better. Polio. Catching. Batting fifth, number 6, Annabelle Dyer, playing shortstop. Batting sixth, number 13, Caroline Chastain. She's playing second base. Batting seventh, number 5, Mia Clarkson. She's at first. Batting eighth, number 8, Ying Zhao at right field. And batting ninth, number 7, Annalie Marling, and she'll be in left field. The Bulldogs are coached by Garrett Bird, assistant Scott Fowler, and Olivia Fox. Defensively for the Bulldogs, as I mentioned, Evans in center field, Bandy pitching, Jing Zhao at third, Polio catching, Dyer shortstop, Chastain second base, Clarkson first, Jing Zhao right field, and Marling in left field. Let's turn it over to the Dolphins now. Pitching for the Dolphins today will be number 3, Sydney Larkin. Their lineup consists of number 9, Ryan Robertson catching, Marshall Daniel center field, Peyton Davaldia shortstop, Malin Johnson third base, Kate Dixon right field, Linda Yang designated hitter, Mary Burke the left fielder, and Sydney Murphy the first baseman. They're using a flex lineup, which means they have a DH, and Ava Ertzingler is at second base. So here we go. Now that all the formalities are aside, let's get our cell phones turned off. Sit back for a wonderful day of varsity ladies softball here at Cape Henry Collegiate between the Cape Henry Collegiate Dolphins and the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. These teams have a storied history. Yours truly, Chris Souther, was coach of the Bulldogs coach of the Dolphins. My crew is giving me a hard time now. Coach of the Dolphins back in 2016, 17, and 18. And last time we met the Bulldogs in the TCAS playoffs, we defeated them 13-12 in Norfolk. One of the better wins of this program. And here we are 6 years later, roughly. And we are in for a nice game today. So sit back. Let's watch Sydney Larkin pitching for the Dolphins. And she's going to face the first batter of the game, Megan Evans, number 21, the center fielder for the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. Sit back. Let's watch Sydney Larkin pitching. Every once in a while, you'll hear the sound of freedom flying overhead. We are very, very close to Oceana, the Naval Air Base here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And our boys up there and ladies in our F-18s and F-16s will be flying around our field. Don't know if they'll be slow enough to catch any of the action, but we thank you for your service. And if you can just stop flying over us for the next 2.5 hours, we should have a nice quiet game and let all the action do the talking and the sounds of the girls hitting ball to metal bat, kicking up some dirt, and having fun out here. Umpire has cleaned off the plate. Sydney Larkin looks like she's ready to go, and number 3 steps in and delivers her first pitch to Megan Evans. And delivers a ball outside. As I mentioned, the Dolphins are 2-0-1. Bulldogs 0-5. Larkin pitch again, low outside for ball 2. And the delivery. And there's a ball ground hit up the middle, and Peyton Davalia can't get to it, the shortstop, so that's going to wind up being a hit for Evans. And so she starts off the game with a base hit right up the middle. And the Bulldogs have a man on first, a woman on first. Here at the top of the first, no outs. We've just started this game. Reagan Bandy is up at bat now. She is the pitcher for the Bulldogs. And she takes ball 1. And Evans steals immediately and gets to second base on that first pitch. Ball was low and in the dirt, so we can call that a wild pitch. Or a pass ball, or we can just say that Bandy stole the base, which we will. There's a ground ball, and that's also up the middle. And that's a hit. And so the Bulldogs have their first 2 runners on. Evans base hit up the middle, Bandy base hit up the middle. So with nobody out, the Bulldogs are threatening already with runners on the corners. Runner on first and a runner on third, no outs. And that'll bring up the third baseman and number 3 hitter, Jing Shao. And the pitch. And she shows bunt, but it gets away from the catcher. Ball inside. And so that's going to definitely be a pass ball there. So now Bandy extends her from first to second, so she's now in second base. That's a pass ball on the catcher, Ryan Robertson. Runners at second and third, no outs, top of the first, ball low. 2 balls, no strike. And the pitch, and that's low, ball 3. So Larkin hasn't thrown a strike yet, and she's got 2 runners on in scoring position, second and third. And there's a ball inside, so that's ball 4. So runners on all bases here. So still nobody out, and that's going to bring up the 4-hitter, number 11, the catcher, Sophie Polio. And a baseball just came onto our field from First Colonial. They've got a men's baseball game going on at the field directly adjacent to ours. So our softballs will go on their field and their baseballs will come here. All right, Larkin's got nowhere to put this batter, so let's see what happens. She throws one right down the middle for strike 1. So there's the first strike of the game. Good time for it. No outs, top of the first, bases loaded. Cape Henry Collegiate Dolphins versus the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. Pitch number 2, and there's a ball hit way up to right field, and it's caught by the right fielder, Kate Dixon. Nice catch, and it looks like the Bulldogs tagged up, and so Evans tags up from third, and she scores the first run of the ball game. So that brings up Annabelle Dyer, the 5-hitter, number 6, and she's up with a young lady on first and second. 1 out, 1 run in. Nice catch by Kate Dixon in right field. Larkin delivers. Dyer shows bunt but pulls the ball back, and that's going to be ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Runners on first and second, 1-0 Bulldogs. There's a strike called on the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike. Larkin delivers a nice pitch on the inside corner for strike 2. So Sydney's starting to get into her rhythm here. Rough first couple of batters, but now she seems to be throwing more strikes down the middle. And there's a nice, foul tip. So Dyer just got a little piece of that ball. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 1-0. And there's another foul ball. And there's a strikeout. Nice pitch by Larkin. So she strikes out Dyer, looking for the second out of the inning. That was a big strikeout right there. The runners did not advance, and that brings up Caroline Chastain, the second baseman, number 13 for the Bulldogs. And she lines a ball over the second baseman's head. Dixon picks it up. She'll throw it in. and that advances the runners. So Bandy scores on the base hit by Chastain. Zhao goes to third. So the Bulldogs lead by 2. 2 outs, runners on the corners, and that brings up Mia Clarkson, the first baseman, number 5. Larkin delivers, and the ball's in the dirt, and Chastain steals second without a throw. So 2 runners on now, second and third in scoring position. Larkin throws a nice pitch back to her, and she gets the third out, and that's going to do it for the Bulldogs. But they come up with 2 runs. On 3 hits and a walk. And after the first half inning, it's 2-0 Norfolk Academy, and the Cape Henry Dolphins are coming up to bat.
Really need this anymore, right? You don't really need that once we switch, right? I'll put my spool here and there. Just and I can use the mouse and do this at the same time.
Defensively for the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs, Clarkson's at first, Chastain's at second, Dyer at shortstop, and Jing Zhao at third. Pitching is Reagan Bandy, and the catcher is Sophie Polio. In the outfield, Annalie Marley in left, Ying Zhao in right field, and Megan Evans in center. The Dolphins will start with the first 3 batters. Number 9, Ryan Robertson, the catcher. Second batter is number 3, Sydney Larkin, the pitcher. And the third batter will be number 1, Marshall Daniel, and she's our center fielder. 2-0 Bulldogs, with the Dolphins coming up here in the bottom of the first. Robertson, the catcher, is a left-hander, and so she'll take the first delivery from Evans, and it is low, ball 1. Whoa, just a bit high and outside. Well, that's inside. Ball 2. Don't really have any stats for you. Can't tell you past games. So I'm not sure if Reagan Bandy has pitched at all this year or not, but that ball was a little outside, and now she throws a ball right down the middle for strike 1. So 2 balls, 1 strike. To the batter, Ryan Robertson. And there's a ball in the dirt outside, and that'll be ball 3. So 3 balls and 1 strike. And that's ball 4 high. So Robertson earns a walk. So the Dolphins get their first runner aboard, and that'll bring up the pitcher, Sidney Larkin. See if the Dolphins put any steals on here. And they do, and Robertson gets in for stolen base. Larkin takes the first pitch for a ball. And the pitch. And that's ball up and out. Ball 2. Bandy looks in and she delivers, and that ball is outside and high for ball 3. So 3 balls and no strikes. Runner on second. No outs here in the bottom of the first. Norfolk Academy Bulldogs up 2 runs to 0. And there's a nice line drive right up the middle by Larkin, and that's going to bring in a run. So Larkin does her job as the pitcher, and she lines a beautiful pitch right up the middle for a base hit. And that gets Robertson all the way home from second base. So the Dolphins get their first run of the game. No outs, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Marshall Daniel. And she lays down a beautiful bunt, absolutely beautiful. And the pitcher can't make the play and just holds on to it. So a very nice bunt. We're actually going to call that a hit. I know it was a sacrifice, but she did a beautiful job of laying that down. So Robinson walks and scores. Larkin, base hit, gets Robinson in, and Daniel lays down a bunt for a hit and moves Larkin over to second base. And that'll bring up the 4-hitter, Peyton DeValda. And she takes a ball up, ball 1. No outs, runners on first and second. And she lines a ball, and it's just foul on the right side for strike 1. It's 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs. Runners on first and second. Bulldogs are leading the game 2-1. We're in the bottom of the first here at Cape Henry Collegiate. And the pitch. That's up and out. Ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Larkin trying to draw a throw down to second. To no avail. There's another ball way outside. Again goes back. 3 balls, 1 strike. Peyton DeValda, the shortstop, is up at bat. And she takes a strike on the outside corner. So the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Umpire behind home plate had a better view than we did. At least that's how we're going to call it. So count is full. And here we go. And there's a ball way outside, and that will be ball 4. And that'll move everybody around. So bases full of runners here. No outs. Bottom of the first. And Malin Johnson, the third baseman, now comes to the plate. Looking to do a little damage. Dolphins have had 3 straight hits and now a walk. And we'll see what Johnson can do with the bases loaded. And the Dolphins down a run. And she takes low and inside, ball 1. Bandy, the pitcher, has nowhere to go with this batter, so she's got to throw strikes or let her hit the ball. And way out, and Larkin is going to score on that pitch. So that's a wild pitch that gets Larkin home, and we have a tie ball game. Daniel and DeValda move over themselves, so runners on second and third now. So Johnson now has runners at second and third. She takes it low, ball 3. So 3 balls, no strikes. Malin Johnson, the third baseman. Runners on second and third. No outs. Tie game, 2-2. And she swings at a ball in the dirt for strike one. Three balls, one strike, no outs. And takes a strike on the outside corner for strike two. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to Malin Johnson. And the pitch, and that's low and inside in the dirt. So she's going to go to first base. So that's a walk. So the bases are loaded again, and this time for right fielder Kate Dixon. Kate made a nice play in the top half of the first inning, a nice catch over in right field. Saved a couple of runs, and now she's at the plate with the bases loaded, looking to do some damage. She takes low and inside, ball one, and that's going to get past the catcher, and Marshall Daniels scores, and that allows Johnson and DeValdo to move up. So Marshall scores on a wild pitch in the dirt. Actually, that was probably a pass ball. Ball low. So Dixon's ahead. 2 balls, no strikes. Runners on second and third. Dolphins now leading 3-0. And she takes a ball in the dirt. 3 balls, no strikes. So Bandy's still looking for her first out, and we're on the 6th batter of the bottom of the first half of the inning. And there's a strike called on the far out and low corner. Dixon stands in, 3-1, and she lines a ball foul over the visitors' dugout. So the count is now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes, runners on second and third. No outs here in the bottom of the first. And that's ball 4 outside. So the bases are loaded again, and this time it brings up the designated hitter, Linda Yang, and the Bulldogs are going to have a little bit of a conference here. So while they're doing that, we'll step off for a second. All right, so we're back after the conference. Linda Yang is up. And she hits a ground ball to the second baseman, who scoops it up and throws it over to first for the first out of the inning. But that gets another run home. So that's going to go 4-3 for the first out of the game. And that scores DeValdo for the 4th run of the inning. And that brings up Mary Burke. And Mary sets up to bunt, and she bunts it up and right into the catcher's hand for the 2nd out of the inning. So that's a pretty unusual F2. And that brings up Sydney Murphy. Sydney lines one up to the right fielder, and she makes a good catch. So just like that, the Dolphins, with the bases loaded, go down 1-2-3. So Yang, second baseman, ground out. Burke pops out to the catcher on a bunt attempt, and Murphy lines out to the right fielder, and we're done. But the Dolphins come back with 4 runs of their own, and they now lead this game 4-2. All right, so here we are in the top of the second inning, and the eighth hitter, Ying Zhao, the right fielder, is going to lead off, and she will start off against Sydney Larkin, the pitcher for the Dolphins, in a 4-2 ball game. And Larkin starts her off with a ball high. And that's a ball high as well. So 2 balls, no strikes, no outs. Top of the second, 4-2, Dolphins over the Bulldogs. Ying Zhao up, and that's a little high as well. So 3 balls and no strikes. Home plate umpire has been a little inconsistent. Game is early. And the pitch is called a strike. So the field umpire is calling out the Dolphins coach for some reason, and they're going to go look at the mound, and I think he's going to talk about Sydney Larkin possibly stepping back off the rubber and doing what's called a crow step. They'll usually warn the pitchers before they administer a ball. Umpiring crew, 2-person crew today. And so umpire is telling Larkin she's got to have her hands set before she makes her move. And now that order has been restored, Sydney Larkin will pitch to Zhao with a 3-1 count. Nobody out here in the top of the second inning. And she gets a strike, swinging strike. So took that advice from the umpire, turned it into a swinging strike. And the 3-2 count. And she lines it back up to the pitcher, who throws it over to first base for an out. So a nice play there by Sydney Larkin. And that's the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Annalie Marley, the left fielder. And Marling takes strike 1 on the outside corner. And that's ball inside. Ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Marling grounds the ball to Johnson at third, who can't make the play. She's bobbles it, so that's going to be an error on the third baseman. So E5 here. And that'll bring up the top of the order, Megan Evans, the center fielder. So runner on first. Evans got a base hit her first time up and came around and scored. And this time she flies the ball up, and it's called for by the shortstop, who makes a very nice play. So Peyton Davalda, the shortstop, makes a nice grab there, F6, and that'll be the second out of the inning. And that brings up the other pitcher, Reagan Bandy. Bandy got her a hit her first time up, went to second on a pass ball, and scored herself as well. And that ball is low and inside for ball one. Two outs, one runner at first. 4-2, Dolphins over the Bulldogs here in the top of the second inning. And that pitch is up and away for ball two. Got some spectators on the field. And now they've cleared the field so we can continue our game. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. And the pitch, ball 3. As I mentioned, Bandy singled her first time up, a nice hit up the middle. She's got a 3-0 count. We'll see what she does. And she takes ball 4. So that puts runners on first and second base. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Jing Zhao. And the pitch is right down the middle for strike 1. Zhao is the third baseman. And she walked her first time up. First and second. 2 outs. That's a ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Larkin looking to get out of this inning. She's got 2 outs and 2 runners on. Good defense behind her. She throws a beautiful pitch that does not get called for a strike. So 2 balls, 1 strike. Home plate umpire is seeing something a little different from her vantage point than we are from here. And there's a ground ball up the middle, between the second and first baseman. And that is going to get a run home. So Zhao does her job. She singles up the middle, and that scores Marling from second base. Moves Bandy over to third. So steals second base without a throw, and that'll bring up the catcher. And there's ball 1, ball 2, and ball gets away, and all the runners advance. So Bandy scores. Zhao goes to third, and that's going to be called a wild pitch. That ball was way up there. So we've got 1 ball, 1 strike. On Sophie Polio. Sophie flied out to the right fielder her last time up. And she hits a nice fly ball. Marshall Daniel is under at the center fielder and makes the catch for the 3rd out. So nice play by the center fielder Daniel. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. But the Bulldogs do get 1 back. Get 2 back. So we have a 4-4 game here. And the Dolphins will be coming up in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Those of you new to softball, ladies softball, high school ladies softball, these games can go one of 2 ways. They could either go pitcher's duel, and they go very quickly, or they go not a pitcher's duel, and they could take an hour to get through 2 innings. We're sort of on the second side of that one, so we'll see how this all turns out. Bandy is back out pitching the bottom of the 2nd. Dolphins will have their top of the order, Ryan Robertson. Ryan singled her first time up. And she'll come up with the score tied 4-4. Waiting for the Dolphins assistant coach, Joe Larkin, to get over to first base to his position. Looks like everybody is ready to go, so we'll start the bottom of the 2nd of a 7-inning game. And here we go. That ball is called strike 1 on the outside corner. There's a line drive off the home field dugout for strike 2. Reagan Bandy has been up twice and has scored both times, so she's got 2 of the 4 runs on her team. Now trying to keep the Dolphins off the scoreboard here in the 2nd inning. And she throws it low ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bottom of the 2nd. Top of the order, Ryan Robinson. And she gets a foul off the catcher's mask. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch. And it hits her. I think it hit the bat, the knob of the bat. So, oh, nope. Umpire said it did hit her hand. And so she's going to get a walk to first, and that'll put a runner on first by a hit pitch. And that'll bring up Sydney Larkin. Now the umpires will confer. And they're going to leave her at first base. Home plate umpire. And the field umpire confer. And so that'll bring up Sydney Larkin, pitcher for the Dolphins. She got a base hit her first time up. She looks to bunt, takes it low, and here's the steal down to second, and it goes, and she's going to go. Robertson's going to go to third, so she steals second and goes to third on the error by, we're going to say that's the shortstop for not making that play. In the meantime, ball one on Larkin. There's ball two. So runner on third now. Larkin up to bat. 2 balls, no strikes. We have no outs. She takes a strike on the outside corner, and that has been a consistent low outside strike all game. So home plate umpire doing her job, being consistent. And there's a pitch way inside. Ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Runner on third. That's Robertson. Sydney Larkin is the batter. No outs here at the bottom of the second inning. And she takes it way high and outside for ball 4. So runners on the corner, and that'll bring up Marshall Daniel. Marshall singled her first time up and scored. So first and third, we'll see if Larkin steals second. She does, and a nice bunt, beautiful bunt placed down, and that ball is called foul? Fair? I guess it was called foul. Boy, that ball just sat on the line. That was a beautiful bunt, but unfortunately it did not stay in fair. Now the opposing coach is having a conference with the umpire. Not sure what they could be talking about here. The bunt was made well. I don't think she threw the bat. It just dribbled out of fair territory. Strike 1 on the batter. Again, runners on the corner. Maybe they were arguing if the runner on first left too early. That was not called. So first and third, 1 strike, no outs, 4-4 ball game. Oh, and there's a beautiful pitch right down the middle, and Larkin does steal second base. And Daniel winds up striking out, but the ball goes past the catcher, and she goes down to second base on a overthrow, and that's going to get both Robertson and Larkin home. So Daniel actually strikes out swinging, but she goes to second base on the drop third strike. And second on the overthrow. So, yeah, score that. So, let's get ourselves together here. We got a runner on second. Two more runs home. 2 balls, no strike on the shortstop, Devalda. And she hits a line drive over the shortstop's head for a base hit there. And that'll get Daniel, and she's going to score from second. So Devalda does her job and gets Marshall Daniel, who reached on a error after striking out, and she goes all the way home with the 7th run of this game, and that puts a runner again at first base, and Devalda now trots down to second base. 1 strike called on the batter, Malin Johnson. Still no outs. Johnson walked her last time up. She hits a ball that just goes past the catcher, so that's a foul ball. One ball, 1 strike. Oh, excuse me, that was a strike. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 balls, no balls, 2 strikes, and that one hit her. And so she's now going to take a free walk to first base on a hit batsman. So now we have runners at first and second. And that'll bring up Kate Dixon. Dixon walked her last time up. Still no outs. Ball up and out. Ball 1. Devalda at second. Johnson at first. Ball low in the dirt. Ball 2. Dixon at the plate. 3 runs in already. No outs. That ball is up and outside. 3 balls, no strikes. And a swinging strike there. Good pitch. A little bit on the outside corner. Dixon had a nice swing at it, just didn't connect. 3 balls, 1 strike. Runners on first and second. She does hit this one down to the first baseman, actually to the second baseman, who makes the play to the first baseman for the out. And there's the first out of the inning. 4-3. Devalda moves up to third, Johnson to second, and that brings up Linda Yang, the designated hitter. And Linda grounds the ball up to the first baseman, who makes the play, but I believe it's called foul. It is. So that's just a swinging long run strike. Runners on second and third, 1 out. And she lines the ball over the third base for a nice hit. That's going to score Devalda and Johnson. And Linda Yang's going to walk into second base with a beautiful double. So nice piece of hitting there. After kind of grounding the ball up to the first baseman, she then rockets one over the third base itself. And that gets 2 more runs home. That brings the score 9-4 Cape Henry. Sorry about the scoreboard issue here. Multitasking. Mary Burke, the left fielder, is up, and she grounds a ball to the third baseman, who scoops it up, looks over, and throws the ball way over the first baseman's head. That's going to get Linda Yang home. That is going to get Mary Burke to third base, and she's there standing up. So a ground ball to the third baseman, who makes an error with the throw, and it gets Burke all the way to third base. Linda Yang scores, and that's going to bring up Sydney Murphy. And Murphy takes ball one outside. And Murphy hits a line drive over the second base, and she gets a hit, and that brings Burke home. So Sydney Murphy, who flied out to the right fielder her last time up, gets a base hit over the second base this time, and that scores Mary Burke. So the Dolphins are going to work their way back up to the top of the order. And Robinson, who led this whole thing off, there's Murphy going down to second base. She steals second. Robinson started this whole thing off with a hit batsman. She's back up at bat again. She flies one to the shortstop, who makes a nice play. So there's the second out of the inning. And we have a runner at second base. And that's Murphy. And this brings up Sydney Larkin, the pitcher. Sydney has a base hit and a walk, has scored twice in this game. Takes it low, ball. Ball again. So 2 balls and 1 strike on Larkin. Runner on second, that's Murphy, who singled. Ball in the dirt, and Murphy's going to go to third, and there's no throw there. So Murphy goes to third on the low pitch in the dirt. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, 11-4, Cape Henry Dolphins over the Bulldogs of Norfolk Academy. And that ball is going to be outside for ball 4. That puts runners at first and third. And that's going to bring up Marshall Daniel. Marshall struck out this inning, but reached on first base for a drop third strike and came home and scored. And there's, and they got Murphy hung up, but she turns and she slides home. And Sydney, who got caught hung up between third and home, forces the throw and scores anyway. So everything coming up roses here for the Cape Henry Dolphins. In the meantime, that was a ball on Daniel. So she's up with with Larkin now at second base. Two outs, 12-4. Dolphins have exploded in this inning. And, Marshall wants that pitch back. That was a beautiful pitch right down the middle. Two balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Runner on second. Ball up and out. Ball 3. Sidney Murphy was dead to rights and managed to score anyway. And there's ball 4. So that'll put runners on first and second. And that'll bring up Peyton DeValda, the shortstop. And Peyton singled her last time up. A nice ball. And she takes ball 1. Ball outside. Ball inside, and Larkin is going to steal third, and she does. And that makes Daniel move up as well. So 2 steals there, double steal. Peyton's got 3 balls and no strikes. We'll see if they let her hit here. They do, and she does, and she goes right between the third and shortstop, and that's going to score 2 more runs. So they gave her the green light, and she connected and got a base hit between the third baseman and the shortstop, and that resulted in 2 more runs coming home. And DeValda gets down to second base on a ball to the next batter, Malin Johnson. Malin swings and misses at a ball a little low. Malin has walked and been hit by a pitch. She scored once in this game. Takes it low for another ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And we are in a 14-4 ball game. Ball outside. So Malin's got the count in her favor, 3-1. DeValda standing on second base. And there's a strike down the middle. Nice pitch there by Bandy. Have not had a lot of those this game. Called strikes. Dolphins have been swinging the bats well. They're not sitting back waiting for pass balls. And Malin strikes out. And that'll be the 3rd out of the inning. So we go to the top of the 3rd, and the score is 14-4. So the Cape Henry Dolphins sent 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 batters to the plate in that inning. And came up with 10 runs. So we'll see what the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs can do here. They're going to start off with their number 5 hitter, the shortstop, Annabelle Dwyer. And they are down by 10. There is the mercy rule in women's softball. 10 runs after 5 for the visitors. We got a long way to go before that happens. We are an hour in and just starting the 3rd inning. Bulldogs, as we said, they'll send up their shortstop, Annabelle Dyer. Carolyn Chastain, the second baseman, will hit second this inning, and Mia Clarkson, the first baseman, will hit third. Down 10. Bulldogs need to put some runners on base. So here we go. Top of the third inning. 14-4, Cape Henry Dolphins over the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. And the pitch. And that's in for strike one. Seems like Sydney Larkin has settled down now that she figured out how to place her feet on the mound. And see if we can get through a clean inning here. And there's a line shot to the left fielder. Nice hit. So Dyer singles. Good play out there in left field by Mary Burke. So the Bulldogs get their first runner on base. And that'll bring up the second baseman, Carolyn Chastain. And the pitch. And there's a ground ball to the shortstop, and she makes the play and can't make the play to the second baseman. So that's going to be an error on the second baseman. Nice play by the shortstop. That'll be ruled an E4. So Dyer goes to second on the error. Chastain to first, and that'll bring up Mia Clarkson. Clarkson grounded out to the pitcher first time at bat. And there's a bunt, and Larkin will not be able to make that play. And that's going to get a run home. So let's sort this one out. So Clarkson bunts. It's an error on the pitcher. She eventually goes to second. Dyer scores. Chastain is at third. So without any hits, the Bulldogs have runners at second and third and a run in already. And that brings up Ying Zhao, and she's the right fielder. And she's got a 1 ball and 1 strike count to her. 14-5. She drives a ball to first, and it's picked up nicely by Murphy, who makes the play and throws down to home. So a very nice play by the first baseman there. So that's unassisted for the first out of the inning. It did get Chastain home, and it moved Clarkson over to third, and that'll bring up Marling. Marling takes ball 1. Marling reached on an error by the third baseman last inning. There's a strike called on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. She grounds the ball foul for strike 2. Lackadaisical on my outs here. We do have 1 out in this inning. And she grounds the ball again, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. 14-6. Annalie Marling, the left fielder, is up with a runner on third. And she grounds it this time to third, and it's going to be another E5 there. That got Clarkson home. There's a ground ball hit up the middle. And Marshall gets the ball in, and they tag her, and she's called. He's calling obstruction on the second baseman. So I think the Coach Stone on the Bulldogs is going to ask for clarification on that obstruction. So Megan Evans gets a hit, and that brings up the pitcher, Reagan Bandy. Hit and a walk, her 2 times up at bat this game. And she takes ball 1 high. Runners on first and second, 14-7. And there's a fly ball, and the second baseman is there, and she can't get it. She falls down and makes the play at second. And so that's an out. That's an out at second. Infield fly rule was called. So, okay. So infield fly rule was called there. So that brings Bandy out. That's an F4 for Bandy. And that brings up Xingjiao, the third baseman, with 2 outs. Runners on second and third. And foul ball on the third base side. So umpire called a infield fly rule, even though the second baseman dropped it. Ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, 14-7. Runners on second and third for the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. Ball low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ball high. So 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Oh, there's a nice pitch right down the middle for a strike. So full count, 2 outs, runners on second and third. Jing Zhao, the third baseman, is up. And she swings and misses at strike 3. So a nice pitch by Larkin to get out of the inning. So after 2.5, it's 14-7. Cape Henry Dolphins lead this game over the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. And the Dolphins will send up for their half of the third the right fielder Kate Dixon, the DH Linda Yang, and the left fielder Mary Burke. All right. Well, we had the playing of the national anthem next door, so we had to pause our game here. But here we go. Kate Dixon up at bat, and she takes ball one. And we are in the bottom of the third, 14-7. The Dolphins lead the Bulldogs. Dixon lines the ball to right field and gets a base hit there. So she's on base. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Linda Yang. Linda grounded out to the second baseman and doubled her last time up, scoring 2 runs. There is a ball high. Linda grounds the ball to the shortstop. She picks it up and throws over to first, but not in time. That's going to be a base hit there. So Linda legs out a base hit. So we have runners at first and second. Dixon moves over to second. Yang to first, and that brings up Mary Burke, the left fielder. And Burke takes the first pitch. Low ball 1. And Dixon scampers over to third, and Yang down to second on that ball in the dirt. So stolen base for those two young ladies. Runners at second and third now. 1 ball, no strike to Burke. And she takes ball 2 low. Ball outside. 3 balls, no strikes. Runners at second and third. Burke flied out to the catcher on a bunt attempt and reached as a walk, and she walks again here. So the bases are loaded with nobody out, and that is going to bring up Sydney Murphy. Murphy singled her last time up. And she takes ball 1 low. Sydney's a freshman here at Cape Henry Collegiate. She takes outside, ball 2. Sydney will be going to Vietnam and Cambodia this summer on a Nexus trip with yours truly. We can't wait. Ball 3. So with the bases loaded and nowhere to go, Sydney Murphy's got a 3-0 count. Reagan Bandy, the pitcher for the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs, has to figure out how to get out of this inning and get past Murphy. And Murphy hits a ground ball to the shortstop, and it goes through her glove, and that is going to be an error on the shortstop. She had a nice play at second if she could just had come up with that, but she didn't. So E6, that gets Dixon home for another run, moves Yang to third, Burke to second. So bases are still loaded. Another run for the Dolphins. And that brings up the leadoff hitter, and that's going to be Rye Robertson. And the pitch, low and in the dirt, ball 2. Dolphins looking to add on to their lead here. 15-7, third inning. Bases loaded, no outs. And there's a foul ball back for the first strike of the at-bat. So 2 balls, 1 strike. No outs here in the bottom of the third. Ball outside. Three balls, 1 strike. And there's a line shot to left field, and that ball is just foul. Just foul. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. That definitely would have scored at least 1, maybe 2. Instead, the count is full. Bases are loaded. There are no outs here in the bottom of the third. And she takes strike. So nice pitch there by Bandy, and she gets the first out of the inning. Bases are still loaded, and this brings up Sydney Larkin, the pitcher for the Dolphins. Larkin has singled and walked twice and has scored all 3 times. And she hits a ball to the second baseman. It goes under her glove, and that'll get 2 runs home. That'll get 3 runs home. So the outfielders were holding the ball there, and that allowed the Dolphins to go around the bases and clear them. And so Larkin, with a base hit, or actually an error on the second baseman, clears the bases and puts 3 more runs on the board. She now steals second base, and that brings up Marshall Daniel. Daniel has 1 ball. She swings and misses, so ball 1 and strike 1 for Marshall. Still 1 out. Ball high. There's a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And she lines a ball just foul on the third base side. Still 2-2. Larkin standing at second base. Oops, gotta fix that on our little scoreboard here. One out in the bottom of the third. And Larkin swings and misses, but so Marshall strikes out. Play down to first is in time. So that's the second out of the inning. In the meantime, Larkin moves to third. And that'll bring up Peyton DeValda with 2 outs. And a runner on third, Larkin. Peyton takes ball 1 up high. Dolphins are up 18-7 here in the bottom of the third. And she swings and misses through that pitch. So Reagan Bandy, the pitcher for the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs, has been able to throw a strike when she wants him. And DeValda sends it up, and the catcher makes a nice play behind home plate for the third out of the inning. But the Dolphins score 4 times, leave a runner on base. And we're going to move to the top of the fourth with the score 18-7. While we have a break in our action here, we have the Cape Henry Dolphin ladies varsity soccer team up 2-0 in their match, playing right behind us. They're playing beach, and they're up 2-0. Always activity on these fields here at Cape Henry. And we'll see if we can get a clean inning here out of the Sydney Larkin-led Cape Henry Dolphin defensive side. Up for the Bulldogs will be the 4-hitter, number 11, the catcher, Sophie Polio. She'll be followed by the 5-hitter, shortstop Annabelle Dyer, and the 6-hitter, Carolyn Chastain, the second baseman. Those of you living here in Virginia Beach know we are under a severe pollen warning. If anybody's gone outside and seen the yellow film on your cars or in the streets or wherever, so doing these ball games on these freshly pollinated fields can sometimes get a little overwhelming, and bear with me if I have to cough or sneeze a little bit. Here we go. Top of the 4th. Larkin starts out with ball 1. Ball 2. Ball 3. That was a strike in the first inning. Home plate umpires decided to move off that a little bit. And 3-0 count. Larkin delivers. And there's strike 1. 3 balls, 1 strike. Sophie Polio is up to bat. Looking to reach for the first time today. And she takes ball 4, and she is on base. So that's Polio's first time on base today. She reaches on a walk, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Annabelle Dyer. There's strike 1. Larkin is nursing a 11-run lead here in the 4th. She's got a runner on first and a strike to the batter she's facing. And that's called ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Annabelle Dyer, the shortstop. Annabelle has struck out and singled her 2 times at bat at this game. There's a ball in the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. And the pitch. Almost swung at, but not quite. 3 balls, 1 strike. Dyer thought about it, but she held up in time, took the ball high. So runner on first, 3 balls, 1 strike. Top of the 4th, 18-7, no outs. Cape Henry Dolphins over the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. And there's ball 4. So runners on the first and second. Delivered by 2 walks, and that'll bring up Carolyn Chastain, the second baseman. And she has singled and reached on an error. And she takes strike 1. She grounds the ball to the second baseman, who can't make the play, just outside of her hands, and that's going to get a run home. So base hit up the middle by Chastain, and that scores Polio. And puts runners on first and second. And brings up to the plate Mia Clarkson. Clarkson takes down ball 1. Clarkson grounded out to the pitcher and reached on an error by the pitcher her first 2 times up. So should expect something up the middle here. Ball. Home plate umpire got a little choosy this inning. It's pretty liberal the first couple innings, but getting a little tighter around the strike zone with the game 18-8. That ball's inside, and they throw down to first. Nothing there. Nice play, but nothing there. 3 balls, no strikes. Runners at first and second. Batter is Mia Clarkson. She's the first baseman. And there's ball 4. So that's going to load them up. And that'll bring up Ying Zhao. Ying's the right fielder. She grounded out to the first baseman and, grounded out to the pitcher and then grounded out to the first baseman. She takes ball inside 1. Ball up. So Larkin having a little trouble finding the strike zone here. The score 18-8 in the 4th inning. No outs, bases loaded. 1 run already in. And there's a swinging strike. Two balls, 1 strike. Oh, nice pitch, strike 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. And the pitch. And it's lined to the pitcher, and the second baseman can't make the play, nor the pitcher, so that's going to be a hit just off Larkin's glove. That scores Dyer. Moves everybody else around. Bases are still loaded. Another run in for Norfolk Academy. And we have some substitutions being made here. So Kate Dixon is coming out of the game. And coming into the game is number 7. That, I believe, is Jayla Schindler. So Jayla Schindler will come in for Kate Dixon. Bases are still loaded. We still have nobody out. In a 18-9 ball game. And that's going to bring up the number 9 hitter, Annalee Marling. Annalee reached on an error her last 2 times up, both errors on the third baseman. And she takes ball low. So Annalee Marling, the left fielder, is up. Bases loaded, no outs. 18-9. There's a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And swing and a miss, there's a strikeout. So first out of the inning, Larkin gets Marling to swing and miss. And that'll go back to the top of the order. Megan Evans will come up. First pitch is a strike. Base is still loaded, 1 out. Ball low. 1 ball, 1 strike. And there's a hit up to the shortstop, and she throws it over to the second baseman, and the second baseman just throws it in, but no one there. But there's an out. So fielder's choice. Evans hits into a fielder's choice, and that gets Zhao out. Chastain scores. And that brings up the pitcher, Randy Bandy, with runners on the corner and 2 outs. There's a strike called for strike 1. First base runner goes down to second. There's strike 2. So Larkin looking to get out of this inning by striking out her partner in crime, the other pitcher. Instead, she grounds the ball to the shortstop. A nice play by Davalda, but she's way too late on that throw over. Nice play, just not enough time. So give Bandy a base hit on that. Scores Clarkson. So you got runners on first and second. That brings up Jing Zhao. And she takes strike 1. Ball high. There's a ground ball to the first baseman who makes the play, and that's the third out of the inning. So first baseman Sidney Murphy comes up with that, and that'll be an unassisted 3 for the third out. But the Bulldogs come up with 4 more runs to make it a 18-11 ball game. And we're going into the bottom of the fourth. And leading off for the Dolphins will be Malin Johnson, followed by the came into the game Jayla Schindler in right field, and then Linda Yang, the DH. So the Dolphins can tack on a few more runs here and then get the Bulldogs out in the next half inning. We might be able to go home a little early. We are at 6:15 and not even done with the fourth inning. This is women's softball. And as we said, it can either be a pitcher's duel or it can't. And this one is not. And so we're going to see a lot of runs, a lot of errors, a lot of hits, walks, you name it. If this is your first ladies softball game, you're going to see it all today. We've seen bunts, we've seen attempted bunts, we've seen an infield fly rule. Yeah. All right. So here we go. We are now in the bottom of the fourth. Malin Johnson will lead it off. Malin walked, was hit by a pitch, and struck out her first 3 times up. Here we go. She takes ball 1 inside. Malin sporting a white helmet. The high red socks as the Dolphins are wearing in their home whites. She takes up ball 2. And swings and misses through a nice pitch there. Strike 1. Reagan Bandy has been pitching this whole game for the Bulldogs. Malin fouls that one off. And that ball is just outside. Three balls, 2 strikes, no outs, and there's ball 4. So Johnson reaches on a walk. That brings up Jayla Schindler, and Malin Johnson steals second on a, well, we'll call that a pass ball. So she's at second base after walking. Schindler has a 2-ball count on her. Schindler grounds it to the shortstop, and she goes over to first and makes a nice play. And Malin Johnson's going to go to third on a throw over. So Johnson gets over to third. Schindler grounds out to the shortstop for the first out of the inning. And that brings up, excuse me, the designated hitter Linda Yang. And Linda takes ball one. Johnson's at third. One out in the inning. Linda has grounded out to the second baseman and then gotten on twice and scored. She had a nice double and has two singles after that. Excuse me, one single. Two balls, no strikes. One out. Johnson on third. Yang takes ball three. Up. Swings and misses on an inside pitch. Strike two. So, strike one. I'm all confused. Sorry. 3 balls, 1 strike. Linda Yang, DH hitter. 1 out. Bottom of the fourth. 18-11 Dolphins with Malin Johnson standing on third looking to go home. And Yang hits the ball up and fielded by the pitcher. And that'll be out number 2. So Mary Burke will come to the plate with 2 outs. She takes ball low. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 18-11. Runner on third, 1-1 count, 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Swing and a miss, strike 2. So the Dolphins, who could have tacked on some runs and possibly ended this game early, does not look like they're going to get out of this one with any runs. Oh, and the ball hits her. So Burke is hit by the pitch. She'll go down to first, and that'll bring up Sydney Murphy. So runners on the corner. And Murphy hits a little tap back if the catcher can't make the play for strike 1. Sydney can manage to hit one and come all the way around. That'll make it a 21-11 lead. And Burke is going to go down to second base with her stolen base there. So runners at second and third. And Sydney fouls the ball back. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Murphy takes high and outside. Ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the fourth. Dolphins leading 18-11 over the Norfolk Bulldogs. And Sydney takes ball. So we got a full count with 2 outs, 2 runners on. We'll see what happens here. And Sydney walks, ball 4. So we got the bases loaded now with 2 outs. And that is going to bring up top of the order, Ryan Robertson. Ryan's the catcher, and a big hit here could do a lot for this ball game. And she lines it down the first base, and it hits the bag, so it'll be fair. She gets there, and 2 runs score. So Johnson and Burke score. Sydney Murphy goes to third, and Robinson goes to second on the play. So Robinson gets a base hit, goes to second. Johnson and Burke scored. Murphy goes to third. And the Norfolk Academy coach is having some conversations with the home plate umpire. I'm not sure if he's asking if that ball hit the orange bag or the regular bag. If it hits the orange bag, it is a foul ball. If it hits the other bag, it's a fair ball, and apparently the home plate umpire is explaining to him it did in fact hit the fair bag. Couldn't tell from where we're standing dead center field. It definitely hit one of the bags. It popped right up. And I guess if it hits the middle, it's fair ball, because any part of that white bag is going to be fair. Any part. Just like if it hits any part of third base, it's fair. So it's really not much I don't think he can complain about, unless he's arguing that it was straight up orange. But again, I'm not sure he can see that. And the home plate umpire is being a little demonstrative right now, explaining what she thought happened. We'll tack on 2 more runs here for the Cape Henry Dolphins to make it 20-11. I guess they're going to ask the field umpire. He would have had not nearly as good a view as the home plate umpire. So this will be our 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th conference of this game. And we're going to continue as it is. So we've got runners on 2nd and 3rd. There are 2 outs, 20-11. And Sydney Larkin, the pitcher, is coming up. And she flies the ball up and over the visitor's dugout for strike 1. Robertson is standing at 2nd. Murphy standing at 3rd. Larkin is hitting. Oh, and she takes a strike right down the middle. 2nd strike. Ball outside. And Larkin hits the ball to the third baseman, makes a nice play, and throws it over in time. What a beauty right there. Third baseman for the Bulldogs, Jing Zhao, makes a beautiful play and throws out Larkin at first. So that's a 5-3. And that strands the Dolphins just 1 run short of the mercy rule. So we're definitely going to be playing 5 innings, possibly more. But the Dolphins do score 2 in that inning to lead 20-11. And we are now in the top of the 5th. Larkin goes back out there. Defensively, the Dolphins are still the same, except their right fielder, Kate Dixon, is out, and Jayla Schindler has come in. All right, here we go. Top of the fifth, 20-11. Cape Henry Dolphins over the Bulldogs of Norfolk Academy. And Norfolk will send up their catcher, Sophie Polio. Sophie has flied out to the right fielder, the center fielder, and she has walked. She grounds ball to the third baseman, Johnson. Johnson makes a nice play and throws it away, and that's going to result in an error. So Johnson made a nice play, but didn't come up with the throw, so that'll result in an E5. So runner on second base, and that'll bring up Annabelle Dyer, the shortstop. And she takes low, ball one. Ball two, and that gets past the catcher, so that'll get Polio over to third. And that'll be a pass ball. So Dyer's looking at a 2-ball and no strike count. Runner at third now. And there's a pitch down the middle for a strike. Ball called on the inside corner, I guess. So that's ball three. Yeah. And there's ball four. So runners on the corners. Dyer walks. That'll bring up Carolyn Chastain, the second baseman. Larkin throws. And it's ball one. Runner steals second. So Dyer goes down to second on a steal. Second and third now. No outs. Batter is Chastain, and she swings and hits a ground ball past the first baseman, just foul. Strike one. There's a strike called. All right. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So home plate umpire lifts her right arm after keeping it down most of the last couple innings and get a strike call. And there's a fly ball, and that's going to be over the second baseman's head. So that'll get 1 run in. That'll get 2 runs in. And that'll get 2 runs in, and that's that. So we got a base hit for Chastain, and that scores both Polio and Dyer. We still have no outs in this game. (20-13) now. Nobody on base. Excuse me, runner on first base, and that's going to bring up Mia Clarkson, the first baseman. Mia grounded out to the first baseman. Sorry, grounded out to the pitcher. Reached on an error and walked. Has scored twice. And no throw down on the steal there. So Chastain steals second. Rye Robertson decided not to throw down. She had time, just decided not to do it. And there's a fly ball, and Marshall Daniel can't come up with it. So she's now going to throw it over to the third baseman. So Daniel had it in her hands. She just couldn't come up with it. We'll call that a E8. So we now have runners at first and third. And there's a fly ball to the second baseman who does make the play. Throws it over to first, who tries to double him up but doesn't. So there's the first out of the inning, F4. And that was Ying Zhao. And now Annalie Marley, the left fielder, is at bat. Runners on first and third. Still 20-13. There's a strike. Clarkson steals second. There's a strike. Foul. Just got a piece of that ball. Marley just got a piece of it. And swings and grounds a ball to the third base side. Still got no balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 20-13. Dolphins over the Bulldogs. Dolphins could use an out here. There's another foul ball down the third base line. So Annalie Marling doing a good job of staying alive here in this at-bat. 2 strikes on her. She's fouled off a number of pitches now. There's another one. Sydney Larkin has pitched a decent game today. He's found the strike zone more often than not, has not walked many batters. And I believe they're going to call her hit. So, yes, so it's a hit batsman, so Marlene gets hit. And that's going to load the bases. that's going to bring up the top of the order, Megan Evans. Evans takes a strike. Ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out. 20-13 here in the top of the 5th. It was a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 runs in already for the Bulldogs. And there's a ground ball to the shortstop. And she does not have a play. Well, she had a play. She just didn't make it. So Davalda can't make the play there. So that brings in Chastain. He's 6 there. So we still have bases loaded. Another run scored. And that brings up Reagan Bandy. And there's a ground ball to the shortstop who makes a nice play and throws it to third. There's a nice play. So Davalda makes a nice play there. She gets the runner. She gets Marley out. So for the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Xing Zhao with runners on first and second. And we got ball 1. 2 outs, 20-14, 20-15. 1, 2, 3. There's a ground ball to the third baseman, Malin Johnson, and she makes a nice play there as well. So unassisted there. So the Bulldogs come up with 3 runs, right? 4 runs for 20-15. We're going to take a little bit of a break ourselves here. We'll come back after this. All right, well, Marshall Daniel is up, leading off the bottom of the fifth. Scores 20-15 Dolphins. She grounds the ball to the third baseman, who's right there, makes a play, but throws the ball way over the first baseman's head. Now she's going to go all the way to third. So Daniel reaches third base on a error by the third baseman and an overthrow. So E5. And that brings up Peyton Davalda. She takes low, ball one. The Dolphins can come up with 5 runs in this inning, the game will be over. There's ball 2. Reagan Bandy still pitching for the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. Ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes, no outs. Runner on third. That would be Marshall Daniel, who reached on an error and then went all the way to third on the overthrow. And there's strike 1. Peyton has walked, singled twice, and flew out to the catcher. There's a strike. 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, no outs. Runner on third. And the pitch. And she hits a rocket out to the outfield. It's going to hit the fence on one bounce. That gets Marshall Daniel home easy, and there's a stand-up double for Peyton Davalda, and that ball was scorched. Absolutely scorched. That was absolutely close to going out of here. Hit the fence on one bounce, so Dolphins pick up a run there, no outs. And that brings up Malin Johnson. Made a nice play that last inning on a force out. Johnson's got a 2-0 count, 3-0, and Davalda's going to run to third, and she just gets there. So stolen base by Peyton. Three and 0 count on Johnson. We'll see if they give her the green light here. They don't, and the Bandy throws it in for a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike, no outs. Malin has walked, hit by a pitch, struck out, and walked again. So 2 walks, hit by a pitch, and a strikeout. Malin's 5th time at bat. Good time for a little base hit here. Get the runner from third home. And she does. Hits the ball into the hole. And so Malin does get a hit, and that drives home Davalda. So there's the 2nd run of this inning. So Malin gets a nice hit there, timely, and that brings up Jayla Schindler. This is Jayla's 1st time at bat. She takes ball 1, and Malin slides down to second, And now she's going to go to third. So she steals second and goes to third, and kind of haphazardly there. We'll give her 2 stolen bases on the throw. And I'm looking, and I don't know if that is Schindler. We may have another change in the order here. It looks like Dixon is back in to hit. So I think this is the flex they've been using. Swing and a miss. So 3 balls, 1 strike, no outs. (22-15). Oh, that was just outside. So Linda Yang is now up. So a walk issued there. Runners on first and third. And it looks like we're going to have a substitution here. So Dixon did re-enter. And that was her getting that walk on that last pitch. Now we have a new catcher entering the game for Norfolk Academy. Don't have a number for her. Might be able to pull it up here. Let's take a look. I don't have that there. We'll see if we've got her on the roster here. And that could be Carmela Testaben. She's listed as another catcher in this game. So is, yeah, that's going to be Carmela Testaben, I believe, is now entered the game for the catcher, Paulo. So Tabin enters, Polio exits. And we have a 22-15 game with no outs, runners on the corners. And the new pitcher is number 11. And that's the catcher has moved to pitcher. So Polio moves to pitcher, Tabin to catcher. Bandy is out, so C. Tabin will come in for her as the catcher, and Polio now moves to pitcher. And Linda Yang takes a ball, and Dixon steals second. Ball 2. Ball 3. 3-0 count. Runners at second and third after this long delay. Norfolk Academy replaced both their pitcher and catcher. And now Yang gets hit, so she'll go to first base, and that'll bring the bases loaded. And that'll bring up Mary Burke with the bases loaded. 22-15. No outs. Ball 1. Ball outside. Oh. That was called a strike. So 1 ball, 1 strike. That's high and outside, and Johnson's going to score. Everybody else moves up 1, so Malin scores on a wild pitch. And that brings Dixon to third and Yang to second. 3-1 count, and ball outside. That's ball 4. It should be ball 4. Okay. We'll go with ball 3. Swinging strike. Full count. No outs. And ball inside, and Dixon's going to score on that pitch. Mary goes to first. And that'll put runners on the corner again. So Mary Burke walks. Dixon scores. Yang to third. So Murphy gets hit. So we got the bases loaded now. And that's going to bring up Robinson. And 1 more run and this game will be over. Ball 1. No outs, bases loaded. Ball 2. Dolphins poised to mercy rule Norfolk Academy. There's a strike called on the far outside corner. Ball outside. 3 balls, 1 strike, no outs, bases loaded, nowhere to go. And that's way outside, and that's going to send in the next run, and this should do it. And that's it. And so the Cape Henry Dolphins have mercy ruled the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs. Lots of runs today, 25-15. Some good defense, some good hitting, some good pitching. And here we are at 7 o'clock, 2.5-hour crisp, almost 5-inning game. Congratulations to the Cape Henry Dolphins. Congratulations to the Norfolk Academy Bulldogs for coming over, and we thank you for your competitiveness. And I want to thank RJ working the camera and the tech a little bit today, and ask you to join us again for our next broadcast. See you here on Cape Henry TV YouTube channel. And with that, we're going to sign out. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.